Hello everyone, this is nagislittlecloud and welcome back to my channel. As I promised, you're going to be getting a new Studio Ghibli movie review from me every Saturday. And for this Saturday, I am going to be talking about Nausicaa and the Valley of the Wind, which is considered one of the first movies to be released by Studio Ghibli. The beginning of the movie starts sort of like a pandemic, not like the one that we saw, but one that is set back during the beginning of what looks like the beginning of civilization, and everything is in turmoil. It's burning, everything is falling apart to ashes. And the very beginning of the movie starts with a small speech. It says, they refer to it as the Sea of Decay. 1,000 years after the collapse of industrial civilization, a forest exuding toxic vapors called the Sea of Decay covered an earth strewn with rusting ruins threatening human survival. And the speech ends there. After that, the scene switches and we see our main character, Nausicaa. In this opening scene, Nausicaa is seen taking samples from an ohm who has died, and she's seen showing appreciation for it. And this is something that we see throughout all of the movie. Nausicaa suddenly hears a commotion going on, and when she goes outside, there she sees an ohm trying to kill a human being. She throws flares at it, calm it down, and at one point she says, quote, "What a magnificent ohm," and end quote. With an insect charm, she throws it at the ohm and helps it go back home. And then she discovers that the man is actually Lord Yupa, a friend of hers who she hasn't seen in a very long time. Lord Yupa has brought with him an animal which later turns out to be a fox squirrel, and named him Teto. The Teto is agitated and he seems scared because of the situation he's in, also because of the fact that he was rescued. So Nausicaa holds Teto in her hand and tries to calm him down. And in this process, Teto bites her finger, but Nausicaa holds herself and stays grounded, tries not to be scared so Teto can calm down. And in this moment, Lord Yupa calls her a mysterious power. Then they go back to the Valley of the Wind with Lord Yupa, and he starts reminiscing with all the villagers because he hasn't been here in a very long time. They ask him why he's come here, and he is searching for the mythological man who's dressed in blue. Opaba, who is an elder at the Valley of the Wind, tells the legend of a man dressed in blue, surrounded by a sea of shimmering gold, who will fight, bring peace, and unite the world and the people, and at the same time connected to nature. At this moment, a loud noise is heard outside, and as they look out, they see a ship falling down. Specifically, it was a Tolmekian ship. When the ship crashes, turns out the ship is infested with insects that can carry spores with them. These spores will contaminate the crops that they've been growing, also the trees and any surrounding environment that is touched by these spores. And nothing will be usable or edible anymore. Nausicaa uses the insect charm and connects it to a string and starts swinging it around, and that mimics the sound of the insect's wings. And that's how she makes the insects go away so they could control the situation that was going on. During this time, the villagers start burning any spore that they see in their sight. The princess of Pejite is discovered amongst the shipwreck. However, she does not make it and eventually dies within seconds of being discovered. However, this is not the end of this in a way miserable story. It turns out that the warship holds a monster from the old world called the Giant Warriors. As their story is being told, turns out that all of them had died except for one who had survived. This warship had come from Tolmekia, which is a military war-driven country. The Tolmekian soldiers kill Nausicaa's father, and then they tell her that they have come to connect the frontier and bring peace upon the world, which is fucking bullshit to me, but okay, let's go on with the story. The soldiers try to reason with them and tell them that they're going to go extinct soon. They should accept their rule and join them. Their intention is to burn the Sea of Decay and to resurrect the Earth. Nausicaa, devastated by her father's death, finally goes to her secret room, and we only get to see it when Lord Yupa is searching for her, and in her room he finds a secret door leading to Nausicaa's room. If you've watched the movie, then you'll find the connection. If not, then you will find out everything through me in this video. In this room, she has been experimenting with different plants from the Sea of Decay, even from plants around her environment, and trying to find a cure for her father's illness and for any other illness caused by the Sea of Decay. And in this particular scene, she says something very interesting. Quote, "With the pure water and soil, the plants from the Sea of Decay are not poisonous," end quote. Meaning that the pollution lies within the earth itself. In this scene, we see Nausicaa have a mental breakdown because at this point she's lost and confused with her morals and values in doubt as her people are getting abused, and with her father dead, Nausicaa cries in despair, scared of her own rage because she does not want to kill anyone, even after all that she's been through. Along with the Tolmekian ships, Princess Kushana of the Tolmekian Empire joins them. Princess Kushana takes Nausicaa and the other warriors as hostages and plans to return to Tolmekia. On their journey back, their warship is attacked by a Pegitan soldier, which turned out to be Princess Pegita's twin brother. As their ship is being attacked, things don't go as planned and their warship gets destroyed and they end up in the jungle. Stuck in the Ohm's nest, she tries to explain to it that they are not the enemy, but the Ohm tries to grab her with its feelers. And from my understanding, is that the feelers can tap into the human's emotions and be able to tell whether their intentions are good or bad. But then something special happens when the Ohm grabs Nausicaa with its feelers. Nausicaa starts to see an image. The image only lasts a few seconds, but she sees a huge field with a tree in this image, and then it disappears. After this, Nausicaa goes to save the Pegitan soldier, who turns out to be Asbel, and they cannot make their escape out of the jungle. Instead, they get swallowed by quicksand. Nausicaa, unconscious from the fall, falls into a dream, and there she sees herself as a child holding a baby Ohm, or specifically she was playing with it, but her family separates her from it, and they say that a human and an Ohm cannot be friends, and they tell her that humans and insects cannot live in the same world. However, after I thought much more about it, this image seemed more like a memory from her childhood rather than something from her imagination. She begs her family not to kill the baby Ohm, but we don't know what happens because she eventually wakes up. Asbel and Nausicaa realize that they're stuck under the Sea of Decay, and unexpectedly, the air is pure there. Turns out that Astel is the princess of Pegita and also Asbel's twin sister, and he only attacked the ship where that Nausicaa was in because he wanted to get his revenge. As Nausicaa analyzes the environment, she realizes that the Sea of Decay was born. The trees of the Sea of the Decay grew to cleanse a world polluted by humans. They absorb toxins from the earth, generate pure crystals, die, and then turn to sand. That's what created these underground caverns. The insects protect the forest, in Nausicaa's words. Back at the village, the soldiers of the Tolmekia are still trying to revive the Grey Warrior, while the villagers from the Valley of the Wind have to burn their whole forest down that protects their reservoir because the spores are destroying everything. Soon, Asbel and Nausicaa make their way to Pegita, and it turns out that the whole kingdom is destroyed and the city is overrun by insects. Asbel eventually finds his people, and Nausicaa and him both find out they're gonna use the insects to destroy the Great Warrior. Nausicaa, she tries to retaliate because if that happens, then all of her people will die. And however, because of that, she gets imprisoned. And then Asbel's mother saves her. They quickly exchange clothes and she frees herself. And while this is happening, Asbel's mother thanks her for trying to help Lastiel and also helping Asbel, even though Lastiel did die, but Nausicaa did try to comfort her in her last few seconds of life. Nausicaa escapes to the village while Lord Yupa and Mito save the Vegeta ship from the Tolmekian soldiers that invaded it for... It was a whole scene of 5 minutes, and then Lord Yupa just comes and just kills them all. Well, I think he kills a few, and then the soldiers get scared, so they just give up, they surrender, and because they see no point in going against the man who could beat the dozens of people. Then the scene switches, and it shows the people of the Valley of the Wind trying to get on top of this high place so they could escape the insects. However, something unexpected happens. As they're trying to find their shelter, suddenly the wind stops for the first time in the history of the Valley of the Wind. A noise starts ringing all throughout the valley. The valley is angry. As Nausicaa is nearing the valley, she suddenly sees two Vegeta men on a glider, and underneath that glider there is this metal strings holding a baby Ohm, and turns out that they were trying to use the baby Ohm to lure the herd of Ohms to the village of the Valley of the Wind. In this scene, Nausicaa in distress tries so many times to save the baby Ohm, and at one point she even puts her life in danger because the Vegeta men try to point the gun at her, and as they're about to shoot her, one of them stops because he notices that Nausicaa isn't trying to harm them. However, she does get shot while doing this, accidentally. An injured Nausicaa tries to put some sense into the baby Ohm because it's trying to go to the herd. Eventually, the blood that's coming out of the baby Ohm, I have to mention that their blood is blue. The blood soaks Nausicaa's pink dress, and all her clothes turn blue. When the baby Ohm is almost into the poisonous lake, Nausicaa in time stops it. However, she gets burned by the poisonous lake. She pushes the baby Ohm in retaliation, trying to make it understand, and she gets hurt and screams in agony. The baby Ohm heals Nausicaa with its feelers. Nausicaa starts crying because of the exhaustion that has captured her soul. In this moment, the Ohms, still lost in rage, are nearing the valley, and then the Great Warrior gets resurrected, but in a rotting form. The Great Warrior blasts the Ohms, however, there's so many of them that he needs to blast them at least 2 to 3 more times before the Great Warrior starts melting. The Great Warrior starts melting to the ground because it wasn't strong enough. It was resurrected before it was completely came to its true form, and that's what happens when you're greedy for power. The Tolmekian warriors had just resurrected him way too soon. Obaba, one of the old women in the village, then said that it is better that the Great Warrior has died. Because the Ohm's rage is the fury of the earth itself. That there is no meaning in living life depending on a monster. The Vegeta soldiers help Nausicaa get the baby Ohm in front of the herd. However, the Ohms, still blinded by their rage, don't stop, and they run over Nausicaa and the baby Ohm, and Nausicaa gets thrown in the air. The shot changes and we get to see this bird eye view. The Ohm's sea of red suddenly and slowly starts changing into blue. The Ohms surround Nausicaa and the baby, and they grab her with their feelers and they resurrect her. The ohms of their feelers bring her up in the air, kind of just like pull her up, and their feelers transform into a beautiful golden field. Bring the legend of the warrior who is going to unite the whole world alive. The legend of Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind. Baby Om is united with his parents, and Nausicaa thanks them all for their help. And then Obaba appears again, and she says, "Such friendship and such sympathy." And the last few lines that completely summarize the whole movie is with Obaba saying, "Clothed in blue robes, descending upon a golden field. Finally, the wind returns, and the ohms go back to the forest." And this is the end. Basically, this was just a very script by script informative way of what happens exactly in the movie, and now it's going to be my thoughts. My mic was acting weird, however I want to try it again for this scene, and if it makes a weird sound again, I will not be using it in future videos. So my thoughts about this movie is that I cried again while watching this, and then I cried again while I was rewatching it to write my script. And I am just surprised at myself by the amount of times that I can cry while watching this movie. And my god, what emotions. I swear, every time I watch this movie, it just touches my heart. Maybe I'm being a little bit dramatic, but it's my life, so I get to choose how dramatic I want to be. And for the time being, Nausicaa still remains my favorite Studio Ghibli movie, but we'll see how that changes in the future. So I created a category of things that I'm going to mention every single time I make one of the reviews for a Studio Ghibli movie. And it's always going to go in this order. First, it's going to be the storyline, my thoughts. It's going to be the genre, the author, the music score. Did I finish watching it? Would I recommend it? The rating, and extensive research that I thought was interesting and important, because first I kind of just want to write what I thought about the movie, so my opinion doesn't change because I read something else. That's why I added the extensive research part, and of course I'm gonna add references because I'm an English major, so for me not to add references, it would be like, what am I doing with my life? So the genre from the research that I did would be classified as Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind has themes of war, discrimination, environmental disaster, and post-apocalyptic Earth. In my opinion, it's a little bit of horror as well, because it can be scary for some people. Sci-fi, fantasy, anime, and animation. It was written and illustrated by Hayao Miyazaki, and it was produced by Isao Takahata, and Toshio Suzuki took part in it as well. I'm pretty sure that I read somewhere that Toshio Suzuki was part of the production team, but not the main producer. The music score was done by Joe Hisaishi, and my favorite is Omu Tono Koryo. I have no idea if I pronounced that right, and I'm really sorry if I didn't. And I'm gonna add 2 YouTube links where you could listen to some of the music score. Did I finish watching it? Well, yes, of course I did. Many times. Would I recommend it? Yes, I would absolutely recommend it. With all my heart, actually. My rating for this is an 11 out of 10. To me, this movie is just perfect. No questions. Now, for my extensive research. So the video at this point is actually done. So if you want to stop watching, then go ahead. The extensive research is just for people like me who want to know some extra information about the movie. So as I was doing my research about this movie, I noticed that a lot of people would say that the manga is actually really great. I still haven't read the manga myself. However, in the future when I do, I will share my opinion about it in one of my social media platforms, either Instagram or Twitter. So make sure to follow me there. However, everyone is like, read the manga, because apparently it's really amazing. This is just extra information that I was curious to know, and I wanted to add it to the video as well. One of the things that caught my eye was the relationship that the people of the Valley of the Wind have with Nausicaa. They don't treat her like other people would treat a royal figure. She is in a way one of them and a part of them, and they love her dearly. They cry for her when they think she's dead, and they believe in her even though she's still a young girl. The adults take her seriously, which is very rare in these type of movies, and they actually look up to her as a ruler. I do have to add, although, that Nausicaa does show many times that she is much more wiser, mature, and compassionate than all of the people around her. One of the things that bothered me was the fact that apparently she's wearing pants in the movie. It's not her ass. It's her pants, okay? It's just that because it bothered me so much. The first time I watched it, I was like, why are they showing her ass like that? But apparently she's wearing pants. It's just that they went with a nude color when they should have just gone with even a blue would have went well, because that just looked disturbing, honestly, and distracting. Omo actually means king bug, and they were created by humans to keep the earth clean of toxins and insects living in the sea of corruption. And I read something so interesting about Princess Kushana from Tolmekia. She presents herself as a general, and according to the research that I conveyed, she actually cares a lot about her soldiers and is loyal to them. Miyazaki has also said that Nausicaa and Kushana are, quote, two sides of the same coin, end quote, but Kushana having deep physical wounds. Susan J. Napier and Patrick Jason note a parallel between the characters of Kushana, the rival warrior princess, and that of Nausicaa. Napier describes Kushana as Nausicaa's shadow, which I never thought about it, but then I read this part and I was like, that actually does make sense. Also, in the manga, the Princess Kushana, you get to know more about her than in the actual movie. The inspiration to create the movie, as it was written in Wiki Fandom, the story itself was inspired by the 1971 comic Rolf by American cartoonist Richard Corbin, while the name Nausicaa was derived from the Greek epic Odysseus, which I never knew that Nausicaa was a character there, and I read Odysseus many times. Just not in English, maybe that's why. Also, Miyazaki was also strongly inspired by the French comic artist Jean-Gérard Arzac, and that was released in 1975. And as seen in the documentary Ghibli, the Miyazaki Temple, the slogan in the initial movie poster release says, "The love of a girl called Miracle," which I do understand because she is a miracle. That was all. Thank you so much for watching the video. The references will be in the description box below. And if you're watching until now, then comment below King Bug. And every Saturday you will be getting a new movie review from me. And the next will be The Grave of the Fireflies, which was fucking sad, honestly. So yeah, thank you for watching it, and bye!